First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, for I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, for I was not a socialist.
It's just so hard to have sympathy when he was when he said, "I hope Adam Schiff goes to prison." Like, there's no way I'm supposed to be sympathetic. You're asking too much from me. You know, like, I try to be a good person. Your principles should transcend the subject that you're talking about. If you have consistent principles, it should be consistent. But it's so hard to be sympathetic, man. When he was saying, "I hope Schiff goes to prison." Clip of Hasan rooting for Trump to arrest a centrist. Okay, so I've seen this clip before where he was talking about Adam Schiff, my senator in California.
Part of that,
oh my God.
Part of that is.
Oh my God. Senator Adam Schiff under federal criminal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud violations. Oh my God, I hope they arrest him. Oh my God, I hope he goes to prison. Oh my God, I hope he goes to prison. Oh, I hate him so much. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, this is political. Sure, I don't care. Lock him up. Lock him up.
Part of that.
I mean, he's just like the least sympathetic person ever, but I will say that it's pretty disturbing. Pretty not great for America and free speech that this is happening. All that said, like, am I going to go out of my way to talk about it very much? Probably not. And he makes it very hard to be sympathetic. Very, very, very hard.
I mean, this is very clearly a First Amendment violation. And I don't know if this is the one that breaks the dam, where they just like try to figure out trumped up charges to like actively prosecute people who've done nothing wrong, mind you. Because it's an intimidation operation. It's not a serious investigation into misconduct or anything. It's just a way to prod and intimidate. Famously, fascists always stop at the edge cases.
Glad you guys are embracing and catching bullets for fellow centrists now. Not sure I understand what that means.
I'm saying it. We'll get to obviously the elephant in the room that I will be addressing. But that's what I spent my morning doing, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's not great. The news is not great, okay? I mean, it's bullshit, but still not great that, you know, they're after your boy. They're up my ass. And I'll obviously get into it right now. I'll tell you all about it, but let me blast off real quick. We will free you, brother. Yeah, free me. Free me. Free me.
I'm sure it's stressful.
I can't believe I'm saying that, but
I'm sure it's stressful. I'm not envious of the stress. It's got to be super stressful.
But I'm about to be seemingly made an example of in America. I wouldn't even say creep towards fascism. America's galloping towards fascism. Great timing. The timing since the interview yesterday is crazy, though. Yeah, I saw a lot of like weird suspicions that, you know, oh, this is because of Elon Musk. Guys, that's not how this works, okay? The federal government doesn't, if the federal government can do things at the mercy of billionaires like Elon Musk could have made a boss call at some point, but getting a subpoena from the federal government, that takes time. It's an administrative warrant, not dissimilar to the ones that ICE uses. So there's technically no real authority backing it, from what I understand. But we'll obviously, you know, I haven't gotten anything yet, so I don't know. I don't know anything. But you know, this is a long-term process. So this is not new, if that makes sense. If you think that
it's just so hard to be sympathetic, and at the same time, like, I do think this is a pretty like I don't know, guys. I think we should be best. We should be our best selves here, because it is deeply, deeply alarming. It goes way beyond Hasan. It goes way beyond Hasan, and at the same time, it's so hard to be sympathetic. You know what I mean? Like, especially with Hasan. Like, I saw a clip of him making the rounds yesterday where he's like, basically saying something like, you know, the Democrats should step up and have my back. And it's like, yes, They should, because this is a big issue. But at the same time, these are the same Democrats that you're accusing of being fascist collaborators. I think it's in this VOD that he says this stuff. I mean, it is a big issue. Are you planning a trip to Cuba soon? No, but this administration has no credibility. They constantly target people for political reasons. That's really bad. It's really, really bad that they're doing that. But also, I mean, to Conduit's point, yeah, I mean, that's fair too. He's only getting subpoenaed. He isn't indicted or on trial or anything. Yeah, that's fair, right? That's fair. He's not like in the process yet, really, of any kind of formal indictment or anything like that. But given the track record of this administration, it's very, very, very likely that he is being targeted just because of like who he is. Then I'd give it like an 80-90% chance. So, wait for more information. Because the other end of this thing is like, if he did violate sanctions and if he did so willfully, I mean, that is a problem. You shouldn't do that. That's fucking stupid. Why would you do that? Anybody can Google where he stayed, the hotel that he stayed at, or use a model, whatever you want to do. And that hotel is on the sanctions list. But, like he claims that he cleared that with OFAC before he went on the trip. And so who knows what's going on here. But it's so hard to be sympathetic, man. It's so hard to be sympathetic. This is a guy that's been going scorched earth on the Democratic Party for years, especially ratcheted up in the last year. He's going even more scorched earth.
No, it's not a congressional subpoena. It's from the DOJ and the Treasury. The white boys got you, inshallah.
Him shitting on the DNC does not mean he doesn't have rights as an American citizen. I mean, I agree with you. This is potentially a huge problem that goes beyond partisanship. I'm just saying, at the same time, I'm a human being too, and it's just so hard to be sympathetic. Like, I can sympathize with the idea of being targeted by the government. It must be insanely stressful. And at the same time, this guy's asking the Democrats to step up and defend him when he's literally trying to torch the entire Democratic Party. And it's like, my sympathy has like limits. Would Hasan defend you with all he has said if Trump came after you or H3? Maybe, I don't know, maybe. Maybe he would do it. Maybe he would be disingenuous. I really don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get into that right now. We're blasting off. Hope you're lawyered up. Yes, I'll get lawyered up. Don't worry.
Oh, I didn't announce on them.
Trump targets Hasan Piker. Someone wrote a script for you. Yeah, I saw. Hasan is on the stand. Senator Kennedy recounts Dr. Jihad's cussy lesson verbatim. Mr. Piker, do you think somebody making these remarks should be conducting humanitarian aid missions? Hasan smirks and lowers his finger. Fa! Rings out in the congressional hall. Acquitted. Yeah. Thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. God forbid a white boy get a little motion. Get Legal Eagle on your team. Guys, that's not how this works. I need a team, most likely of First Amendment, like lawyers that are specifically...
Get the ACLU involved.
Lawyers that are experienced in federal court cases. Possibly a lawyer for...
What do you got for me, cowboy? What is this? Every centrist... Blue MAGA who celebrates these subpoenas is a fucking moron. And they think you're all communists. They're coming for you too. Kamala and Hillary lost to Trump because they tried to present themselves as moderate establishment candidates. It was the Dem Party's failure that gave us Trump twice. The Dems and its free consultants on this website are entirely out of touch with the base and diametrically opposed to its demands. Pro-Israel Dems have no real constituency, but represent most of the political and media class. Blue MAGA is crying a lot lately because left-flank candidates that are for Medicare for All and anti-Israel are winning insurgent races in the Dem primaries, and this makes a lot of Blue MAGA folk on here scared. I tried posting on Twitter and it didn't work. Well, maybe Trump can take care of my problem. That's why it is so hard to be sympathetic. I want to be sympathetic in this moment. I want to be better. Fuck, does he make it hard, you guys?
First Amendment related issues as well. And then also one that is adept and knowledgeable on sanctions and the Treasury and OFAC in particular. So it's not like no disrespect to Legal Eagle, who is a brilliant lawyer, I assume, but very different type of lawyer is necessary in this situation. So
why would you want to be sympathetic? Because this is bad. Like, it is bad for an administration to be targeting streamers. Again, I don't know the whole story. Maybe it's possible that he did violate sanctions. Maybe. But that's bad. And at the same time, we have clips of him celebrating, Adam Schiff being targeted by this administration. So it's so fucking hard to be sympathetic for this guy.
Do not talk about what's going on.
What exactly is he being investigated for? So he went on a trip to Cuba as a part of some flotilla and stayed at a hotel and did joint appearances with an organization called Code Pink, who, as I understand, literally has direct connections to the Chinese Communist Party. And so it could be for a lot of things, but basically we have sanctions on Cuba. And so if you go to Cuba, there's many businesses that you can't spend money at. Part of the reason why they do that is because the Cuban military, in the case of this particular hotel that Hasan stayed at, the Cuban military literally uses it partially as like a base of operations. And so, there's like these rules that Americans have to abide by when they travel, especially to country where there's sanctions. And so I guess the Trump administration is going to try to make the case that he, violated sanctions. But it's hard to know what's going on without more specific information. I swear I saw a clip of him a few weeks ago where he was contacted by a Cuban emissary of sorts a year ago. Oh, I don't know about that. Fuck Hasan, I do not give two shits from Cheese 42. If he did nothing wrong, it's bad, but I will still not feel bad. Sometimes these people only find empathy in situations like these. He has gone impune for too long. Hasan is trying to gain clout from violating sanctions. He's literally a propaganda arm for everything that's anti-American. I really doubt that Hasan would say, like, this is where I want to give him charitability here. I really doubt that he would deliberately violate sanctions. I don't think this guy wants to go to jail. I don't think he wants to go to jail. I mean, he will definitely use this moment to make himself a bit of a martyr, and he'll try to use it to his benefit, but I really doubt that he welcomes this.
On before talking to a lawyer, I mean, there's nothing I have not had anything happen to me yet. Like, technically, nothing has happened to me. It's just Fox News is saying things are happening to me. So, and it's not like there's anything that I've done. But the unfortunate reality here is you don't really have to do anything for this government to decide that they want to do something with you. So let's get started. So I'm hit in the face with this text message, or this voicemail rather, from Fox News producer, and it's a little bit alarming. It's a little bit shocking. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what do you? I'm a little bit confused, because I'm like, why does Fox News know about something that apparently is going on in my life that I didn't know about, right? Eric Garland. If Treasury OFAC bothers to send you a subpoena, it's not your week. I didn't know what OFAC was until season 2 of Friends and Neighbors on Apple. Just to be clear, it's not like you won the lottery. OFAC, yeah, I know what OFAC is. I'm very familiar with what OFAC is.
What kind of direct connections does Code Pink have with the Chinese Communist Party? Wait, is it real, or is this just another media stunt? I mean, Fox News reported on it, so I assume they have a scoop in the administration. I mean, I would take it to be real. OFAC is OFAC, and what is OFAC? It's the Office of Foreign Assets Control. There's no publicly documented direct link between Code Pink and the Chinese Communist Party itself. No evidence of money or instructions flowing from the party or the Chinese government to Code Pink, and the group flatly denies any. The connections that have been documented are all indirect, running through one man, Neville Ray Singham, Whether that indirect chain amounts to Code Pink being a CCP influence operation is exactly the contested question, and it's the subject of active congressional investigation rather than any legal finding. Code Pink co-founder Jody Evans married Singham in 2017, a Shanghai-based tech mogul who sold his consulting firm ThoughtWorks that year and reportedly netted hundreds of millions. In August 2023, the New York Times investigation found that roughly a quarter of contributions to Code Pink since 2017 came from funding sources linked to Singham. Fox News Digital later put the direct figure at 1.33 million to Code Pink, part of a broader 278 million Singham reportedly funneled into a network of nonprofits since 2017 through shell companies and donor-advised funds. This part, that Code Pink takes substantial money from Singham-linked entities, is the best established fact in the whole story. The 2023 New York Times report characterized Singham as working closely with the Chinese government media machine and financing its propaganda worldwide. And other reporting alleges he has attended Communist Party workshops on promoting the party internationally, shares office space with the Shanghai company, and co-produces content partially financed by China's propaganda apparatus. That's not great. Crucially, even the New York Times framed this as Singham aligning with and financing pro-China messaging, not as the party directing or paying him. Singham denies it outright. He says he never received funds or instructions from any government or political party, including China and the Communist Party of China.
You want to know why I'm very familiar with what OFAC is? Because we filed OFAC clearances before going to Cuba. I've talked about it extensively, as a matter of fact. Our trip had to be OFAC compliant. This is bullshit. But yeah, the very same reason why Fox News got this story before anyone else, and the very same reason why the suspicions within the subpoena, according to Fox News, are ridiculous, is because this is very clearly another intimidation tactic from the American government. It is a way to silence dissent. It is a way to silence dissent. It's a way to actively tie up activists, dissidents alike. It's a way to try to have a chilling effect on speech. And some people, it seems, some likely and some unlikely people have been cheering it on. We'll be talking about that in a second as well. You might need Zoran Magic for this one. Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah. I don't think Zoran Mamdani is going to be doing that anytime soon because I'm not a concerning incident that took place in the New York City region of
the shade, the ego. Wow. It's subtle shade there, but he's throwing shade for Zoran Mamdani, I think, calling out anti-Semitism. There was some act of vandalism, I think, that took place at a synagogue. I think that's what he's referring to. And Mamdani called it a concerning situation or something like that. But he's throwing shade at Mamdani here. Mamdani called out swastika being flown in New York City. Is that what this was? I mean, it could be a few different things. But he's clearly with his tone and rhetoric here implying that Mamdani isn't stepping up or isn't likely to step up where he should. Like, this is for sure shade he's throwing here.
I'm soon on. We'll be talking about that in a second as well. You might need Zoran Magic for this one. Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, I don't think Zoran Mamdani is going to be doing that anytime soon because I'm not a concerning incident that took place.
What happened? It was just, I feel like I saw a clip like a month ago of him saying, me and Mamdani, we still text privately. We're still homies. What happened in the last month?
In the New York City region of America. You know what I mean? Highly doubt it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. I don't know. But anyway, so let's get started with the article, I guess. By the way, I said Fox News, federal officials have served subpoenas to Marxist political influencer Hasan Piker and Code Pink co-founder Susan Medea Benjamin as a part of a wider investigation into whether U.S. organizations and leaders violated U.S. laws and sanctions in supporting Cuba's communist regime, Fox News Digital has learned. Now, very clearly, they leaked this story to Fox News ahead of time because it's an intimidation operation. It's not a serious investigation into serious misconduct or anything. It's just a way to prod and intimidate and tie people up with paperwork in a costly legal battle and basically punish them. It's costly for the government too, by the way, but obviously we are, we're living in a unique, interesting time where the government loves wasting taxpayer dollars, as evidenced by the last thing that Trump did, the $1.776 billion slush fund. The government loves wasting taxpayer dime. In any case, Fed subpoena Hasan Piker, Medea Benjamin over Cuba trips. Investigation part of a broader dragnet involving as many 40 American citizens who joined Marxist convoy to Havana. First on Fox, breaking news. Federal officials have served subpoenas to Marxist political influencer Hasan Piker and co-PIC co-founder Susan Medea Benjamin as a part of a wider investigation into whether U.S. organizations and leaders violated U.S. laws and sanctions in supporting Cuba's communist regime, Fox News Digital has learned. Piker and Benjamin are among those caught in a federal inquiry into whether activists who traveled to Cuba in March violated U.S. sanctions laws through the financing, coordination, or delivery of goods to Cuba, including potential contacts with the Cuban government personnel or entities on the island. The administrative subpoenas were sent to the pair by the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. So not only were we OFAC compliant, but I'm also doubly protected because I didn't just go to Cuba on a humanitarian aid trip. I went to Cuba with a journalism visa. So I actually got a press visa from the Cuban government as well. So this is not only an attack against, activists and people who want to do humanitarian aid work to countries that the United States of America is starving. But beyond that, I was there to interview people. I interviewed regular Cubans and ordinary Cubans in Cuban society. I interviewed doctors, and I also interviewed government officials. And not only is this not illegal, but it's also out there, It's not a secret. If you go to my YouTube page right now, you can see it. It's actually right here. I went to Cuba. This is what I saw. Mini doc. I pretty much filmed everything that I did there, and I put it into this mini doc. Here I am interviewing the foreign minister. This is not illegal. This is actually very legal. So, kind of strange. Also, one of the things that they brought up is really funny. The administrative subpoenas called Requests for Information, or RFI, seek financial, logistical, and communications information revolving around the trips the two widely bragged about making to the island nation in March with the delegations of the Nuestra America Convoy, or...
Ooh, that accent.
America Convoy.
Ooh, that accent. Nuestra America. That was good.
Around the trips.
He's rolling his R's. Did you hear that?
The two widely bragged about making to the island nation in March with the delegations of the Nuestra America Convoy.
That was pretty good. Honestly, that was pretty good accent. Ryan Thorup with $10. Just a reminder that you suck and are a flawed person. You say you get uncomfortable with too much glaze, so you're welcome. I genuinely appreciate that. Some of the glaze has been a little much. I log on to Twitter and people are like, "You have been anointed the new godfather." I read the comment. You can't do that. It gets to creators' heads. You can't do it. It's bad news. It's bad news, man. Ego is your enemy. I go into the comments of my my YouTube videos.
Listen up, you bald fraud.
There you go. I go into the comments of my YouTube videos and people are like, Hutch is just so down to earth. He's just so calm and mature. He's just so evolved. It's just so refreshing to have someone so mature and evolved and like really heavy glaze. You can't be doing that. That's bad news. You can't be over glazing streamers and content creators. The glaze is insane, but necessary, I fear. I do need to do a stream where I like confess my sins and just dive into all my character flaws. I'll let you down. I'll do it. I will. I'm gonna make mistakes. I will let you down. All right? I promise you. I left a streak of diarrhea poo on my car seat. I agree we should largely just shit on streamers, but we should praise when we have a unicorn. You can't be saying stuff like that. You can't be calling me a special unicorn, all right? It's not even that complicated. Like, I'm a boomer. I'm a fucking boomer. I know this youthful visage gives people one impression.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
But I'm turning fucking 43 this year, okay? I've been doing content on the internet since 2009 as far as like making it my job. So I've had I've done a lot of stupid things in the last 2 decades and have been humbled by the stupid things that I've done. And so now I just don't do a lot of those same stupid things. You're a millennial, Hutch. Well, I'm a boomer. Everybody's a boomer. Like everybody above Gen Z and are boomers, I would say. There you go. Here's a flaw. I've been so hands off with mod stuff for like months. I turn the stream off. I don't look at my Discord. You know, I play video games or I spend too much time on Twitter.
Where we bring you gameplay and we try to just be pinnacles of journalistic integrity and maturity.
Some of you guys are seeing this clip for the first time. He really did smash my head here. He fucked me up right there. He genuinely fucked me up. Like I told him, like, hey, let's fight for real, you know, let's make it serious. I didn't think he would smash my fucking head with a fucking trash can lid. I didn't think that he would literally slam my head into a fucking metal trash bin. But he did that shit. He full sent. Yeah, here's one of my sins. I've been completely neglecting moderation stuff for like 2 months. I go into the mod chat Discord last night. Everything was on fire. Many such cases.
Or our America Convoy, from a global network of communist sympathizers, activists, and influencers who brought supplies to the country's ruling Communist Party of Cuba, according to the sources familiar with the matter. The investigation is part of a broader effort by officials at the Treasury, State, and Justice Department.
Don't mind me, guys. I'm just going to brush my teeth with my miswak stick. Don't mind me. I'll just be in the background brushing my teeth with a magical root.
To curb malign foreign
I will not be using toothpaste.
Influence operations inside the United States, particularly activities tied to support for political violence, extremist movements, or acts the U.S. government classifies as terrorism. The scrutiny reflects growing concern among federal authorities and lawmakers over whether foreign actors and aligned organizations are attempting to shape American political discourse, mobilize activists, and sow discord and normalize rhetoric that could encourage violence or undermine U.S. national security interests. Ken Klippenstein believes that this is a tie into the NSPM7, the whole counterterrorism initiative that they have. According to the American government,
I was provided an important utility for society. Maybe I'm the reason Nicholas Fenton is gay.
It's actually terrorism to be anti-fascist. It's terrorism to be anti-capitalist. And now I guess it's terrorism to send humanitarian aid, to deliver humanitarian aid to an island nation that we have starved.
Well, there's nothing in the reporting to suggest he's being investigated for terrorism. It's very explicitly laid out in the Fox News article. He's being investigated for OFAC violations.
Tremendous suffering too.
So he's definitely milking this for every fucking ounce of juice that he can get.
Incredible. So yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's just pure evil.
The voiceover he did for his doc was, oh, it's so good. Yeah. We all know about his vocal fry, but he's on another level with the VO for this video.
In this condition, is ready to continue the Cuban medical mission and just to try to help the peoples around the world.
Yeah, Cuba's been there for everybody, and now it's time for us to be there for Cuba. All right, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Being in Cuba, I didn't just want to talk to experts or professionals. I also struck up conversations with different people on the street.
But what are we going to do? There's no fuel. People say it affects them, not the rich. It affects all of us, the majority, the common people. You know? Because if you don't have power, what are you going to do?
Is that what you're talking about? That is like, the voiceover was so crazy, yeah. It's you never hear like voice like translation voiceover like that, like dialed up to fucking 11.
We're just surviving day by day, like all of us Cubans are doing, despite all the significant economic challenges that we currently face.
Trump is a big son of a bitch, man. Some say he's good, but for me, he's not. Trump has no decency. He doesn't. But he can be president of the United States. He says he owns the world. Since he owns the world, he thinks he owns Cuba.
I feel outrage with him because he's the one governing his country and wants to govern the world. And international law allows all countries in the world to have their freedom, and he wants to violate and has violated the freedom of all Cubans and other countries. War is always bad. War is always terrifying. I am not afraid, but I wouldn't want it to come.
You wake up and don't know what will happen because they tell you no light, no this, no bread, no that. You are at war.
What the fuck? Nobody told them in post, like when they were editing this video, that this was like way over the top.
You are on edge 24 hours. From when you wake up till you sleep, you are at war. You don't feel the guns or the bullets flying, but you are at war.
One person I spoke to was Carlos Fernandez de Cosio, Cuba's vice minister of foreign.
Man. Oh, you know what we need? We need like a parody movie, you know? Like we need like the scary movie equivalent to like doing parody of the streaming space. It's so ripe for parody. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we need like a Lonely Island movie where they're, you know, it's like a satire of, you know, Hasan and like streamer politics and stuff.
According to a Fox News digital investigation, Singham has pumped $278 million into nonprofit groups that have pushed pro-China, pro-Cuba, anti-U.S. narratives and street protests for almost a decade since his marriage in February 2017 to Code Pink co-founder Jody Evans, who's also being investigated for her role in the March trip. Code Pink received $1.3 million from Singham after he married Evans. This is Jody Evans, who I took a photo with. They love this photo for some reason. I don't know why. She's one of the co-founders of Code Pink. She's wonderful. And it's like all of this.
Hasan's crazy because he's just such a like a conventionally handsome man, and yet there are so many pictures of him where he just looks so goofy. I guess we all take unflattering pictures sometimes, but there's something about him specifically. It's like he's like either a perfect 10 or a 0, if that makes any sense, in the pictures that he takes.
This photo for some reason. I don't know why. She's one of the co-founders of Code Pink. She's wonderful. And it's like all of this investigation, at least the high notes, make it seem like they just saw stuff on like New York Post and on Twitter and were like, oh, this must be valid. In mid-March, organizations in the Singham Network, from the Venceremos Brigade to People's Forum, a hub for communist cause in New York City, were leaders of the Nuestra American Convoy, which included an estimated 650 delegates from 33 countries and 120 organizations. The organizations included Democratic Socialists of America, a U.S. nonprofit that promotes Piker as a headline member. By the way, that's so funny. The DSA does not promote me as a headline member, but, you know, we ball. The investigation of the Office of Foreign Assets Control is part of a broader dragnet that includes as many as 40 American citizens who joined foreign nationals, including a controversial Brazil activist, Tiago Avia, who are part of a global network of anti-U.S. Marxist, communist, and socialist. Additional subpoenas are expected. The administrative subpoenas mark a serious escalation by the Trump administration against a far-left, nonprofit activist network that has spent years defending communist regimes from Cuba to China, while presenting its work as humanitarian.
This should have been you, Hutch.
And solidarity with people oppressed by the imperialist U.S. colonial power. Yeah, because that's what it is. It's literally, it's an anti-war initiative. Code Pink is an anti-war initiative, an anti-war movement that wants to stop American wars. Yeah. Badge of honor means you touched a nerve. In my case, they never actually served the subpoena, and I bet your lawyers can successfully move the quash. Hopefully. There's more, though. The story gets even dumber. As reported, a Fox News digital investigation has identified 145 U.S. nonprofits and activist groups with $1 billion in collective revenues that Justice and Treasury Department officials are investigating as a part of a wider influence campaign by Cuba's communist regime and foreign actors. Cuba. First of all, Cuba doesn't even have $1 billion. Like, this is why it's this is why it's insane, but also kind of funny in a weird way whenever people are like, oh, I bet you're getting paid by the Cuban government. Bro, they don't have money. With what money? You think they got money? Are you insane? It's one of those things where I can't tell if people are just like so used to only at advancing causes for monetary reasons, like they just can't possibly fathom the idea that someone would want to genuinely help the Cuban population, genuinely demand that we.
I think they do have some money. I think one of the biggest criticisms of the Cuban Communist Party, the ruling party there, is that the party apparatus, like the structure, the actual people live like kings, right? I'm trying to figure out. Hang on.
Stop, killing Cubans with our economic terrorism, right?
What is Cuba's
what money do they have?
Annual
to give me money. You know what I mean?
Federal budget.
It's very stupid. Anyway. According to public statements, it's believed that delegation members stayed at a hotel the U.S. State Department has put on a Cuba restricted list. Oh, this is what's really funny. This is not a part of the subpoena, I don't think. This journalist is just adding this on. I haven't received a subpoena yet, so I have no idea. But let me tell you why. Because that's not real. We didn't actually stay at the wrong hotel. That was just something that people made up on Twitter, except for an American citizen who recently did violate OFAC and stayed at a hotel that America does not allow American citizens to stay in. It wasn't me, though. It was Nick Shirley. Literally, the hotel that Nick Shirley was in was actually on the state sponsor of terrorism list. Okay? We obviously didn't stay at a hotel that the
Hasan Piker and other members of the March 2026 Nuestra America convoy reportedly stayed at the Grand Hotel Bristol in Old Havana, described in coverage of the trip as the Grand Hotel Bristol Melia Collection, a five-star hotel with prices from $130 to $520 per night, with its own generators, stable internet, and air conditioning. And yes, the hotel is on the sanctions list. The State Department's Cuba prohibited accommodations list includes a property at that location under the name Grand Hotel Bristol Kempinski. The naming difference, Melia Collection in news reports versus Kempinski on the official list, appears to reflect a change in the foreign management brand at the same property. The listing tracks the underlying owner, not the operator. The reason it's listed in the ownership structure, the reason it's listed is the ownership structure. The Grand Hotel Bristol is operated by Grupo de Turismo Gaviota, Cuba's largest hotel operator, which is owned by GAESA, a conglomerate controlled by the Cuban Ministry of the Revolutionary Armed Forces. The military tie is exactly the criterion the list uses. Blacklisted hotels are typically controlled by Cuba's military, intelligence, or security services, and the list prohibits U.S. travelers from staying there. This is why it became a legal flashpoint. Piker defended his stay by claiming U.S. law forced him into a five-star hotel. That claim was just completely debunked, like, right away. Anybody could have just Googled that to see that it was just simply not true. There are a ton of like bed and breakfasts in Cuba that you can stay at that are not on the sanctions list. This is why it became a legal flashpoint. Piker defended his stay by claiming U.S. law forced him into a five-star hotel, a claim widely disputed since the Cuban Assets Control Regulations prohibit Americans from staying at properties owned by the Cuban government or military, but don't require five-star accommodations. He has also said he did not pay any hotels tied to the Cuban military and cleared the trip with OFAC beforehand. As of the past day or so, there's fresh news on this. Piker said he hasn't actually received a subpoena and called the reported OFAC subpoenas an intimidation tactic, while Code Pink founder Medea Benjamin said she traveled under an authorized aid category and stayed in a hotel allowed under U.S. regulations. So the short version, the hotel was the Grand Hotel Bristol, and it is on the State Department's prohibited list. Whether staying there actually violated sanctions is a contested legal question now playing out. And the facts on who paid what and under which travel authorization are still being disputed by the parties involved. like, I just find it, I'm incredulous at the idea that Hasan didn't make some effort to comply with the State Department and like the sanctions. I don't like Hasan, obviously, but I don't think he wants to go to jail. Like, I don't think he wants to be a Nelson Mandela. I think he enjoys his wealth. I think he enjoys his nice things. I think he enjoys his status. I don't think he would like legitimately want to go to jail. So I do assume that he made some kind of an effort to make sure that he didn't do anything illegal. And so there's just a lot of question marks about this trip. Now, it's possible he did something over there without knowing it was illegal. I mean, that's possible. Like, I don't know what sanctions mean. Like, what does it mean to like go into the streets of Cuba and just start handing out wads of cash like he claims he did, right? I think he said he did that. I have no idea, but I do take him at his word that he probably like hired a lawyer and cleared it with OFAC before he left. So it's just kind of confusing.
We obviously didn't stay at a hotel that the American government has made illegal to stay in. Nick Shirley, on the other hand, whether because he's a idiot or because, it doesn't really matter what he does because he's basically an agent for the state, did stay in a hotel that was illegal for him to stay in. I personally think it's idiotic. You should be able to stay in whatever hotel you want to, by the way. I think it's a totally ridiculous restriction imposed upon Americans, and Americans only, mind you, right? It's hilarious that the mouth-breathing rightoid accidentally violated U.S. Treasury rules, yet they're targeting the scary Marxists for literally following the law. Yeah. But yeah, if this is the investigation, that's hilarious. This is just like headline chasing. The federal government got clickbaited by Twitter headlines. Yeah. Federal government targeting people because they mobilize activists, sow discord, and normalize rhetoric, as suggested here, would be a blatant violation of the First Amendment. So yeah, not only is this this is very clearly a First Amendment violation. And I don't know if this is the one that breaks the dam, where they just like try to figure out trumped up charges to like actively prosecute people who've done nothing wrong, mind you, but they just do this to finally tackle the First Amendment. I don't know. When's the court date? I don't know anything. I don't know anything because I have not received a subpoena. Okay, I need you to understand something. I have not received a subpoena. I don't know. There is no information that I have received. Wasn't most of what you did? Yes, everything we did in Cuba was cleared with the State Department, or not the State Department, the Treasury. This is also coming from that very same regulatory body. This is coming from the Treasury. Treasury is the one that handles sanctions, ridiculous or not. You have to be personally served. So not only is this bad reporting by Fox News the most basic detail, defamatory, but they're directly outed themselves as collaborators. Guys, of course they're collaborating. What do you mean? Yeah. Yes. The whole point of this is to get this article out there and to basically tell people like, oh, you got some opinions about the Trump administration? Oh, you want to aid the starving children that we are starving? The Trump administration is starving? Well, that's illegal now. Okay, we're going to make that illegal, or at least we're going to try to make that illegal.
Is he trying to look like Mamdani? I think he said he started wearing suits because I think just generally he just wants to be taken more seriously. I think what he said was he has a lot of eyes on him now because he's getting attacked a lot. And so he wants to not scare off like the Fox News moms, which honestly, probably a good strat. Kind of makes sense to wear suits. And yeah, it's generally, I would say, yeah, that's a good strat, right? Did you see that Trump is trying to rebuild Alcatraz? How would you feel if Hasan is the first prisoner and Trump calls it Lil Cuba? Jesus Christ.
The whole point of this is to leak this to Fox News ahead of time. He
appears on Fox News a lot. He's the Fox News punching bag of the left. Yeah, they've been running 2 to 3 segments on him a day for weeks now.
To start the process of
my dad probably knows who fucking Hasan Piker is at this point.
Threatening people. U.S. law imposes broad restrictions on financial transactions involving Cuba, primarily through the Cuban Asset Control Regulations administered by the Office of Foreign Assets Control. Those rules generally prohibit unlicensed travel-related transactions and exports of goods or services to Cuba, with limited exceptions for journalism, humanitarian projects.
He has done a really good job of getting himself out there. There's no question about that. But there is a hard cap on how far his movement can go. We saw shades of why that is just a few minutes ago when he threw some not so subtle shade at Mamdani. If Mamdani can't pass your purity test, if Mamdani is now kind of beginning to emerge as a potential enemy 4 months into his administration as the mayor of New York City, how could they possibly build a coalition of elected representatives and senators sufficient to actually give them real political power if Mamdani is already kind of on the way out for them 4 months in? Mamdani. And it's not like Mamdani gave up his progressive bona fides. He's still out there like advocating for progressive stuff. So, you know, they can't survive their own scrutiny. And until they fundamentally reevaluate what they think a political coalition is, they're never going to build anything significant. It's just, there's going to be a hard cap to it, and it's just not going to grow. You're allowed to critique politicians, Hutch? Yeah, of course. Wait, hang on. You know what? We're doing Iron Fist. Here's my Iron Fist, okay? You get a 10-minute timeout. I wanted to ban you right there. I'm not going to do that. That's just, of course you can criticize politicians. Of course. I'm not talking about criticizing politicians.
And educational programs and certain activities meant to support the Cuban people. Again, did they sneak taking these photos of you? Yes. I talked to some people, and I suspect that they got creep shots of me in the morning as Kaya was peeing.
Oh, they never reached out
to the gym. And then they also got they got creep shots of someone who works with me as well, which was really annoying. That means that they just parked outside my house all the way back in January, like months ago, and have just been taking photos of me, which is definitely weird. It's a violation of my privacy, but it is what it is. Piker, one of the most influential political streamers on Twitch, has built a massive online following with a mix of Marxist politics, anti-American commentary, and inflammatory statements that have repeatedly drawn public backlash. On March 10th, Piker posted a photo of himself on Instagram with the message, "I'm going to Cuba." In an Instagram post from the trip, Singham's wife, Evans, smiled widely in Havana, wearing a red and white Palestinian scarf, or keffiyeh, around her neck, while standing beside Piker, who looked seriously into the camera. On a live stream this week, Piker said that
Chris Rab thinks the anti-Semitic attack last Hanukkah in Australia was a false flag. So I think you're referring to an incident where on one of his official media channels, was it Instagram? Somebody posted that there was some anti-Semitic attack was like a false flag. It got deleted. He attributes that to a staffer that used the wrong account, which that's not great either. Like, you have someone on your staff that thinks like something like that was a false flag. I mean, that's like a huge red flag. But, his story is that it was a case of not signing into the right account. The person was let go from the campaign, but still not great, The
Justice Department's indictment of Cuban leader Raul Castro was a sham with no legal standing, designed to create a pretext for escalating U.S. pressure on the island. Piker argued that Trump is acting like a playground bully. By the way, no notes. I cooked on that. Every single thing that I said there is correct. Fox News Digital recently observed Piker outside his Los Angeles home, escorting his dog Kaya outside of the house for a bathroom break early one morning. Kaya, a large breed dog that is a mix of Tibetan Mastiff, Chow Chow, and St. Bernard, has been the beloved subject of an online campaign dubbed Free Kaya over allegations Piker trained Kaya with a shock collar that transmits painful stimuli as a part of behavioral training. At one moment, Piker silently stood over Kaya, gestured with a finger for her to return to the house after relieving herself. Later, Kaya was observed being walked and driven by a woman leaving Piker's home. This is insane, right? By the way, once again, this proves many different things that I have been saying conclusively, which...
Oh, no. Is he going to resurrect a mini news cycle for Kaya? God, that was like a top 5 week. 2 weeks? 3 weeks? How long did that stretch out for? The fucking the black like electrical tape, the too obvious like what do you call it? Like convex kind of mounds that are very clearly where the prongs would go. Like I feel like I did some breaking news on that stream. I put the image in OBS and I turned the contrast all the way up. You guys remember that? Oh my God. And then you had QT Cinderella pouring kerosene on everything. Like, because the next day she gets on her stream and says that it was a shock collar, but the prongs were taken off. Then we had internationally renowned journalist Taylor Lorenz making the utterly baffling claim that the prongs would be impossible to remove. Are they made of fucking vibranium? Are these adamantium prongs? What do you mean they're impossible to remove? What the fuck does that even mean? We had an email to the manufacturer, and somebody from the company replied to the email and just said straight up, that looks like this model here, which includes a shock function. It was so dead to rights, like obvious that he was lying about this. That was a really instructive drama cycle because it showed you just how much influence he has over his audience. Like, it showed you that he truly has like a Trump-like, a MAGA-like influence over his audience. That's the power of like a cult of personality, because it was just so obvious that he was lying about it. It was such an absurd lie too. That really was a top 5 drama cycle. Easy. Maybe top 3. Might even be number 1 of the last several years.
Which is that, you know, Kaya goes on walks while I'm streaming. And it's really funny that people just wouldn't believe me at all. And now there is this, it's in the paper. Okay. I like that they framed it like I was doing something.
According to his logic, a dog walker being photographed. Now I wonder if they knew they were being photographed and she wore it around the neck to be so prominently featured. Now I'm getting conspiracy brained with it. He's saying that when was Kaya Gate? When was Collargate? When was Dogtober 7th? Was it literally last October? He's saying that 7 months after Collargate, his dog walker is photographed with a vibrate only model like collar, and this proves that he wasn't using a shock collar 7 months ago. That's some interesting logic.
Unbelievably sinister.
It was literally on October 7th. Like, everything about that drama the cycle was perfect. It was perfect. Everything about it was so funny.
Like that they are framing this as like something sinister, where I pointed to the house. Benjamin has made her mark as an activist gadfly who stages media spectacles at congressional hearings, defense industry trade conferences, and the homes of government officials, yelling in invectives, chants, and slogans, branding herself as anti-war, but actually running a pattern of messages denouncing the U.S. and uplifting communist and authoritarian regimes of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Chinese Communist Party and the Communist Party of China, Communist Party of Cuba. Fox News Digital recently observed Benjamin outside her colorful home in Washington, D.C. with her partner and fellow activist, T.Gay Berry, who accompanied her on the trip to Havana.
Hutch complains about snarkers and does this every day. Iron fist. I'm going to put you in a 5-minute timeout. I am strict but fair. I am not snarking by talking about Collargate. Snarking would be if I had a fucking private server and I'm coordinating like harassment campaigns against Hasan.
Someone also noticed the creep shots disprove that you use a shock collar. It doesn't, guys. This has been discussed a million times over.
That's not the same model that was like clearly on your desk at one point. Dan tweeted about it yesterday. There was a picture of it. Oh no. Oh no. There was one time he had his webcam set up to be like top down on his desk and you could see the receiver. Or is this a receiver? Is that what you call this? I don't know what you call this. The remote control. And it was black. It was black. It was a different model. It was just, you know, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Yeah.
And over again. There's, yes. Not only does Kaya get numerous walks, but yes, she doesn't have a shock collar. It doesn't even matter. You think my haters give a shit? It was never about the truth. Okay. Anyway,
so,
criticized the saying,
oh man,
11, a remark he later said it was poorly phrased, and for past comments about Representative Dan Crenshaw, Navy SEAL veteran who lost an eye in Afghanistan. More recently, critics, including Representative Richie Torres, by the way, shouts out to all the Democrats who are up my ass and have been up my ass, the Israel First Democrats. Thank you. You are giving ample, you're giving ample permission. You're giving ample permission to the fascists that want to take away not just my rights, but your rights as well. So see you in the camps, I guess. You know?
Okay. Hey, family with $5. Was a CNNers fan back in the day. Weird that you are doing politics now. It makes me feel old. I've technically been covering politics to one degree or another since around 2016 or 17. We just committed full time to politics coming up on 2 years ago in September, I think. But yeah, I mean, I've always cared about politics. I've always had very strong opinions, but it just wasn't the focus of content early in my career. Molly with $2, he wants to be a martyr so bad. I definitely don't think he wants to go to prison, but I mean, the smart play for him is to leverage this Fox News story and create a narrative, like a martyr narrative. And quite frankly, the administration might genuinely make a martyr out of him if they unfairly target him, and it could make him stronger.
According to sources, with investigators examining whether Omar may have funded her daughter's travel to Cuba, Omar didn't respond to an early request for comment about her daughter's trip. Piker, Benjamin, Singham, Evans, and Code Pink did not respond to requests for comment. Yeah, it's because you literally sent me a request for comment and then immediately published. Not to say that I would probably give Fox News a comment anyway, but according to sources, the Office of Foreign Assets Control is also investigating Code Pink's DC coordinator, Olivia DiNucci, a former Division I basketball star from Emerson College in Boston. Her unassuming girl-next-door persona often gains her entry into coveted spaces, and then she disrupts with loud theatrics. She joined a convoy led by the Brazilian activist Avila. A lot of this, by the way, does still have a lot to do with Israel. It's not just about Cuba, but it's also about Israel as well. Why bother reading someone's comment if you're just going to immediately tell them that it doesn't matter? Wait, what? That's what you're upset about? Like right now? I can't even begin to explain to you how hard you must lock in, my friend. Please. The Office of Foreign Assets Control can impose civil penalties under a strict liability standard, meaning the government does not have to pretend. The Justice Department, by contrast, generally must show that a defendant willfully violated the law in a criminal case, often through evidence of concealment, evasion, or knowing participation in prohibited transactions. In a long live stream on Saturday, Piker interviewed another influencer to declare about having a baby with billionaire Elon Musk, railed against Trump, defended the communist leaders of Cuba, and Free Associated about other topics in the news, including a shooting outside the White House, decrying the chaos in America. It's terrifying, he said. Good. Our citizens should be fighting for America, not against her. Sometimes I think people forget you're a real person with real things happening to you. Yes. I've read through all the SEC state exceptions for Cuba travel. The main concern is whether you maintain a schedule consistent with full-time work in journalism, humanitarianism, etc., which you obviously did, and we can see that, given you were live and made a documentary in like 4 days. Yeah. Just finished watching your Breath of the Wild playthrough. Had no clue you were a political commentator until news on X that you've been subpoenaed.
Did he play Breath of the Wild?
So you know how you said, once they come for you, that we're cooked? Does this mean we are now, in fact, cooked? We'll see. But the author is a psycho, it seems. Democratic Socialists use the rose in their graphics, branding, and protest signs, symbol of their ideology.
I would personally freak the fuck out. Like, if I knew I was getting a subpoena from this administration, I would freak the fuck out. I don't know if I'd be able to stream. I'd just be so fucking stressed.
Logical belief. Let me break it down. Hasan Piker is one of the most prominent members of the Democratic Socialists of America. First of all, not a member. Not an official member, at least. Maybe an honorary one, but not an official one. But fine, whatever. I've long maintained the position that I am, org agnostic, although I love the Democratic Socialists of America the most, for sure. A DSA political candidate, Oliver Larkin, expressed support for Hasan Piker and Medea Benjamin in the face of subpoenas from Treasury Department from their March trip to Cuba in possible violation of sanctions. Cuba is a one-party state, the Communist Party of Cuba, Partido Comunista de Cuba, PCC, the only political party.
Like, no bullshit, his Spanish is actually, his accent is actually pretty fucking good.
In Cuba. Democratic Socialists of America is a key member of the transnational network backing the Communist Party of Cuba. So do you guys see what's going on here? They're trying to...
My friends were being tortured in an Israeli prison. Why is Hasan saying this? Wait, what? Hasan fans will look you dead in the eye and tell you this is out of context. Reminder that Hasan hoped that Adam Schiff was sent to prison when Trump invented charges against him. And he said, I will gladly apologize if my Senator Adam Schiff lifts a pinky finger to defend his anti-Zionist constituent. Okay. All right.
So they're trying to get everyone tied up. Like they're trying to get every like left activism network in this country.
I don't know if we're ever going to get past the Israel focus, to use a modern phrase. I don't know if we're ever going to get past like the Israel of it all. I feel like we're going to be hard stuck here for like 5 or 10 years.
Like
it will pass. Israel used to be Medicare for all. No, that's what they did for, it was about 10 years. 10 years of Medicare for all, and now Israel is like the main crux of their main focus. We should get some predictions on what the next thing is going to be.
Matter of like activism, whether it be socialist, whether it be anti-capitalist, all this stuff.
Advanced tankies are Israel obsessed since the 60s. It just became more famous now. That's true. There's always been a strong anti-Zionist bend in leftist politics in America. I don't know about elsewhere, but definitely leftists were talking about Israel in the early 2000s when I was kind of getting into leftism. It's just that the post-October 7th climate thrust it into it's become their number one issue. It's all a bit cynical, in my opinion. It's not even about the issue itself. It's more about using the issue as like a vector of attack against the Democratic Party. It's in service of their larger project to like utterly demolish the current Democratic Party and take it over, subsume it, and whatever. But yeah.
What is she said? Hashtag free Kaya. Hello, Hasan the Hun. Surrender your ego and accept one of these offers for a new home for Kaya. You curse at her all the time. You were clearly frustrated with Kaya. She isn't a potted plant. Let her live. This is a Fox News reporter, dude. This is the Fox News reporter that wrote this article. That's incredible.
You have the same opinion as a Fox News reporter. What does that say about you liberals? He's doing the thing. This is the thing that he does.
That's so crazy. She isn't a potted plant. Let her live as a dog, free to roam, a home, move, run, meander. Hashtag free Kaya. Ironic because her literal reporting, if you can call it that, shows that she is meandering and going on walks and going to parks and shit. It's like genuinely insane. She's reposting AWK 2000. Indeed, Hasan Piker is drawn to the attention of federal authorities for possibly aiding and abetting a communist regime. Then he has drawn the ire of dog lovers for allegedly using a shock collar on his cute dog Kaya. It's a public service to draw attention to both issues. It's unbelievable, dude. What a time to be alive, you know? But yeah. To which I said, of course, to this article, I said the American government would rather try to criminalize delivering aid to a country we've starved than punish the Epstein class. Max Blumenthal says an unintentionally hilarious article by Zionist nutbag Asra Nomani to justify the House GOP's McCarthyite fishing expedition. Among the infractions committed by Hasan Piker and Medea Benjamin are staying in the wrong hotel in Havana and this. To which I replied with, we stayed at the right hotel.
I'm trying to be better about pausing less. I'm getting feedback that I can be a bit of a yapper.
By the way, the government got duped by a viral Twitter post. I'm losing my mind. Isn't that crazy? If that's one of the suspicions, that's literally not a thing that happened. It's just not a thing that happened. What is this? Even if this were true, the difference is that Hasan regularly condemns the Armenian genocide while you worms long live for the latifundia days. What? Yeah. All of my
His accent is pretty good. What's the word that he just read? Latifundia?
Regularly condemns the Armenian genocide while you worms long live for the latifundia days. What?
Does Turkish sound similar to Spanish? Like Russian, for example, some of the language that they use, the phonetics, like it's a little similar. Like they'll like roll their R's in some cases, but
what? Yeah. All of my sweatiest ops are also having a field day with this, apparently. Okay. Reminder that red shirts and brown shirts going at it is actually super.
Like in Russian when you say paruski, like they hella roll their R's, paruski.
Beneficial for libs and democracy, and it would be the stupidest thing in the universe.
We the mod team would like you to mod Teague Starbuck. Okay, all right.
For libs to intervene.
Okay.
To which
all right
says this is just explicitly first day came for the communists. By the way, literally, there is a very famous poem by a German Lutheran pastor that starts with first they came for the communists. And
it's just so hard to have sympathy when he was when he said, I hope Adam Schiff goes to prison. Like, there's no way I'm supposed to be sympathetic. You're asking too much from me. You know, like, I try to be a good person. Your principles should transcend the subject that you're talking about. If you have consistent principles, it should be consistent. But it's so hard to be sympathetic, man. When he was saying, I hope Schiff goes to prison. How am I supposed to have sympathy for that? Phoenix with the primer. Thank you. I have eaten foliage with $5. Hutch, if you watch Destiny upload, Destiny clears his name. He gives background for not too online people for how snark works. Preview of the manifesto.
And I did not speak
Is it on his main channel?
I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, for I was not a socialist.
One thing that I hope gets brought up in the upcoming manifesto cycle and the assumed future leaks of the logs. I just want to give you guys a spoiler alert. There's no indication whatsoever that Pisco was working with the snarkers. And in fact, another spoiler, there's evidence to the contrary in these logs. Explicit evidence that Pisco was never coordinating with these people. And so it's my opinion that I think at times Destiny Dan and DGG have been way too hard on Pisco and confuse Pisco's tendency to be really lawyer brained. Some people were interpreting that like he was secretly sweeping for tankies and working with the snarkers, and there's evidence to the contrary. So I want to see the fucking temperature turned way down on Pisco, way down, because I think it's gone way too far at times. I've had issues with some of the stuff that Pisco says, but I'm very direct with him. We have very direct conversations. I tell these things to his face. So I hope that with the future release of the logs, people can see that a lot of the narratives that were going around about Pisco were just way off base. I'm gonna try to be better about modding my chat, because sometimes it pops off a little too much. Sometimes it's hard. Like when we're having an argument live, and I don't really look at my chat when I'm having arguments. I just don't have the brain power to focus on chat and a debate at the same time. But I hope that gets some attention.
Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. And
what was the name of the video? Destiny upload. Destiny clears his name 9 months ago. 9-month video. Michael Hatched with $2. Pisco temperature down. That's the lawyer sound. I think it's more the fact that Pisco is an avenue to push their attacks, and he showed no concern on how they were using him, because he would become curious himself over what they would tell him. I just think the idea that Pisco was allowing certain things in his community because some people were donating a lot of money. I think there's no credibility to that argument. He's done things in the past that, he's taken positions that surely would have lost him money. And if he was really grifting to the degree that people were accusing him of, he would have done so many things differently than he did. I've never thought he was grifting for money from that crowd or clout from that crowd. Just never found those arguments to be compelling, and I just hope that people just turn it down. Pisco can be lawyer brain sometimes, but he's not as some of the rhetoric around him is just way too far. Ranger with $5 D-Man even said he doesn't think that. He just thinks the snarkers at times try to influence him and get him in their snare. Well, it's really clear from the logs that these guys were fucking just... They were definitely infiltrating communities. Definitely. Making sock puppet accounts and shit. It was highly organized. He did show concern. He changed his channel moderation policies after talking to Destiny. He's adopted a new no drama policy too, which I don't blame him. I just think you can have issues with some of the stuff that Pisco says, but it just, some of the rhetoric just went way too far, in my opinion.
And I did not speak out because I was not a...
God, this part I'm going to vomit. Bad company with $5, maybe not in the snarking, but Pisco is definitely used during debates by snarkers. There are words and phrases he used that are only used by snarkers. Michael with $5. Sublime jokes aside, I do think Pisco is earnest, sincere, good egg. If I really thought like Pisco was this like grifting, secret, tanky, sweeping person, I would not be doing a podcast with him. Just straight up. I just wouldn't. And I never got those vibes.
For I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists and I did not speak out.
Asking in genuine good faith, you don't think there's a conflict of interest with hundreds to thousands being donated to small streamers for access and attention, especially someone like Doobie? Also, what about Taylor Loren's defense? It really seems like he was getting fed that stuff from Kilo or someone. Now, as far as the Taylor Lorenz, no, I think I took him to be sincere. Like, I do think that I think he thought that was a bad line of questioning that I went down on. And, you know, admittedly, I think during that conversation, I probably did spend too much time on the centrist point. And just tactically, I had like 5 other examples of questionable language that I didn't get to because I just stayed in that fight for like 20 minutes. So I think I would even concede that. Pisco isn't a grifter or a secret tanky. He's just debate broed. He's lawyer brained. He can be very lawyer brained. He can be very, very lawyer brained. No, I agree. I think the centrist point was a big point. Did it deserve 20 to 30 minutes? Probably not. You know, probably should have just said, okay, well, just moving on and just get to the next one. I think it would have been more effective if I got to my other examples. Because again, I had like 5 other examples and I didn't have time to get to them. So
was not a socialist.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm pausing too much. I just want to start like planting the seeds of like backing away from some of the more unhinged rhetoric around Pisco. Pisco really is my boy. You know what I mean? Like I love Pisco and he is my boy. So
communist. And I did not speak out, for I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists and I did not speak out, for I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no...
He's acting like he's already in the camps. He's invoking this poem as though he's like live streaming from the camps. He hasn't even been served a subpoena yet. Okay.
No one left to speak out for me. That's literally the major takeaway, is that it doesn't stop and end with your perceived ideological enemies, which I shouldn't even be your ideological enemy. If you are a liberal and this is a fascist administration, this is your opportunity. This is your moment to buck up. Okay.
We shouldn't even be ideological enemies, despite the fact that you use the term liberal exclusively as a pejorative. Holy rewriting of history. I'm sorry. I do oppose being targeted by this administration for political reasons, just broadly. Obviously, I oppose that. But there's no way I can experience sympathy for him. It's impossible. Impossible. There's no way.
To nut up or shut up. This is your opportunity to say, you know, it's gone too far. Maybe I'm not the biggest fan of Hasan. We have our disagreements, but this is unbelievable. This is ridiculous. This is madness. And yet, these guys don't comprehend exactly what's happening. They don't understand what's taking shape in front of their eyes. They think this is a great opportunity to attack their own personal online internet enemies, one-sided beefs half the time. I think it is perhaps the greatest demonstration that a lot of these guys on the internet are simply led by these cults of personality.
Oh my God.
Because they say that about me all the time, but they're just led by cults of personality that don't really care about politics at all, don't really care about organizing at all, don't really care about the things that they ostensibly care about. Or
he's throwing shade. I mean, he's obviously talking about Destiny here. You can make a lot of critiques of Destiny. There's so many valid criticisms, I think, of Destiny. You can't accuse him of not organizing. That's insane. Am I crazy, or did DGG not organize canvassing or participate in canvassing? Didn't they organize canvassing events for the 2 Georgia runoffs in 2020? I'm not making that up, right? Didn't they door knock on like tens of thousands of doors in Georgia?
Or the way that they present themselves as caring about certain things like liberal values, even, they just have personal vendettas. And unfortunately, many of their followers also just advance those personal vendettas. And that's what's really interesting, because this is one of those instances. This is a turning point, right? This is a turning point where our rights are all under attack by a fascist administration, by a
The first administration, the first Trump administration was a fucking turning point. January 6th was a fucking turning point. And he couldn't be bothered to endorse Kamala. It's just now that it directly affects him, this is the real inflection point? Really? This is the turning point?
fascist government.
You're not the first one that has been targeted by this administration. It wasn't a turning point when he targeted Comey or Kinzinger or Letitia James or any of the other people that they've targeted. Really, this is the turning point?
And it's very clear.
It's just crazy. He cheered it on. Schiff, he cheered it on. A political investigation, a criminal investigation, that was motivated purely by politics. And he cheered it on. But now he's giving this speech like, oh, we're at a turning point now that I'm being targeted. It's such fucking bullshit.
That there are a decent number of self-identifying liberals on the internet that come from these communities, whether it be the Sex Pestiny community or whether it be Bad Empanada as well, who are not really invested.
I forgot. We have to watch the Bad Empanada debate with FD Signifier, where they debated whether or not it was okay to use literal Nazi language. 2 hours and 53 minutes?
In any sort of real political movement or even undermining the Trump agenda, and not even doing grievance politics necessarily, but just like doing grievance against individual Twitch streamers that they don't like. And it's very strange that their fan base advances those unbelievably selfish desires without even realizing that they're not doing anything remotely political. They're not doing anything remotely political at all. They think they are. They think this is political activism, but all they're doing is advancing the interests of a content creator that they watch, that they're a part of a cult. It's crazy. I'm uncommitted to standing with the podcaster Hasan Piker. He has done more than be lesser evil of the two evils against Trump if he wants to earn my support. First of all, this is an admission that you would vote for Donald Trump over me. Okay.
Does he understand that it's like it's a joke, Holy cosine, thank you so much for the primer.
Okay, I know you're trying to make a point, a really bad point, regardless. This idea that like I deserve to be punished by the Trump administration because you have perceived me engaging in some kind of slight against Kamala Harris when I dared to criticize Kamala Harris's failures in the campaign and warned that she was going to most likely lose, right? And they're all hitting the same line. I'm uncommitted on Hasan getting subpoenaed. He needs to stop acting like he's the lesser of two evils and instead be the good. Remember, these are all liberals. These are all liberals who claim to hate Trump. This is supposed to be their number one thing. The only thing they're supposed to hate is Donald Trump, right? They don't really even care about the policies all that much. As long as a D is doing the same exact kind of policies, they're fine with it, but they hate Donald Trump for, whether it's because of...
As long as a D is doing the same kind of policies as Trump, they don't care? Like, what is this based on?
The way Trump moves, the way Trump operates, it doesn't matter. They're supposed to hate Trump, and they can't even do that right. Okay? This person says, does Hasan Piker think Kamala Harris would have done the same? Just wondering. To which I responded with, you'd cheer it on the same. You'd cheer it on just the same, big dog. Clearly.
Notice how you avoided that question. Notice how you avoided answering that question.
I think this proves it.
You just jumped straight to accepting the premise. And
Trump admin are the true agents of liberalism and saviors of centrism that the Democrats have consistently fallen short of being. You need to begin to moderate your radical opinions. Let Trump win again, which is good because he's going after you, but bad because he's mean to the goat Schumer. Yeah. And so many of these guys are just Israel first too, which is very strange.
Oh my God.
Like even Third Way at least understands that like openly cheering this on would be a bad look for them because they're adults. They're adults. They're adult enough to understand that this is a horrifying precedent.
Piker publicly predicted Kamala Harris would win, while at the same time sharply criticizing how her campaign was being run. That's interesting. He just said a moment ago he predicted she would lose. The clearest piece of evidence is his own video. The day before the election, Piker posted a YouTube video titled "Why I Thought Kamala Harris Would Win." Saying election day 2024 is tomorrow. I predict Kamala Harris will win.
Here's the situation. For those of you who are wondering, like Hasan, let me catch you up. Because
let's just review what he just said a minute ago.
When I dared to criticize Kamala Harris's failures in the campaign and warned that she was going to most likely lose.
Interesting.
So why is it that Nate Silver, who was consistently on the Trump is going to definitely win train, leveraging into the Kamala direction? I'm not even faulting people for saying Donald Trump is definitely going to win. The polls are very close, and I have always explained to you, Kamala's chances got worse and worse over the course of the past couple of months. The more you saw of her, the more you saw her campaign policies, the more Donald Trump seemingly did better in the polls. Kamala Harris has run an objectively bad campaign. That is a fact. Having said that, as our media cycle and our attention cycle gets shorter and shorter, the maximum impact is happening right now, literally in these last couple of days. This last week, the Tony Hinchcliffe Trash Island line was legitimately impactful.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
That ended up not even being that impactful. But
when people are signing up, this is when people are paying attention. When they're like, there's an election going on. Let me take a look. You said Puerto Rico's a trash island? What the I'm Puerto Rican American and my whole family was enraged when they heard that comment. We all voted against Trump. Yep. Turnout is bad in Philadelphia for some of the deepest blue areas. She's not going to hit the numbers she needs unless whites vote for her at a level we've not seen for a Democrat in decades. Yeah, that's what I've been saying as well. I think like this is a race that is going to inevitably come down to white women, specifically in the suburbs, and maybe some white men too. But most importantly, white women. That is what Kamala Harris is hinging her bets on. I think it's a risky bet. I think it's not a good idea at all. But I still do think that it's going to carry her across the finish line. I think.
Okay, so he's just lying. He's just lying. He did not predict that she was going to lose.
To criticize Kamala Harris's failures in the campaign and warned that she was going to most likely lose.
It's just I don't. God, man, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get how you can be a content creator, a political pundit, a commentator, and just lie like that when there's like evidence of you saying something contrary to what you're claiming. But then I remember that Donald Trump just kind of taught us that you can kind of lie like pretty blatantly and you'll be fine. There's always been obviously like in politics, there's always been some level of deception, hiding true motives, omission, lying. Like that's, obviously. But Donald Trump, I think, showed people that you can commit to any lie, and as long as you have a sufficient cult of personality, you'll be fine. But it just kind of blows me away that creators lie so blatantly about this stuff. I mean, it really is wild.
Schumer, yeah. And so many of these guys are just Israel first too, which is very strange. Like even Third Way, at least on adult, because he's a real Zionist, which Trump died celebrating this. Okay, saying like, oh yeah, Trump administration should actually arrest this person because he's a real Zionist, which Trump, the straight up slave of Israel, is not the Zionist in this equation. I am, right? From their perspective. They're trying to justify this that way. So ridiculous. And then, of course, the anti-Trump Sex Pestany is saying, reminder that red shirts and brown shirts.
First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the fascists, and I did not speak out because I was not a fascist. Then 90% of society's problems were solved. And there you go.
Going at it is actually super beneficial for libs and democracy, and it would be the.
I'm pretty sure that Hasan said she'd lose. She'd win and was unsure. Just have to cover all the angles. Well, I don't know how to make sense of that because he's saying that.
So why is it the?
He's criticizing her campaign, but he's also making a prediction here.
This is when people are paying attention, when they're like, there's an election going on. Let me take a look. He said Puerto Rico's a trash island? What the I'm Puerto Rican American and my whole family was enraged when they heard that comment. We all voted against Trump. Yep. Turnout is bad in Philadelphia for some of the deepest blue areas. She's not going to hit the numbers she needs unless whites vote for her at a level we've not seen for a Democrat in decades. Yeah, that's
Mike in the comments getting his like monthly crumb of attention from Hasan.
What I've been saying as well. I think like this is a race that is going to inevitably come down to white women, specifically in the suburbs, and maybe some white men too. But most importantly, white women. That is what Kamala Harris is hinging her bets on. I think it's a risky bet. I think it's not a good idea at all. But I still do think that it's going to carry her across the finish line. I think also that Donald Trump's objectively awful run is helping Kamala Harris because it's just reminding people of all of his worst qualities in general. If you want,
I mean, that's him just pretty unambiguously predicting that she would win the day before the election. So him claiming that he warned that she was going to lose is not accurate. If he wanted to be honest, he could say that he warned that the way she was running her campaign added risk to her losing. That would be seemingly honest. But he said he warned that she would lose, and he didn't. He predicted that she would win. He did also previously say that she'd lose. Okay, but that's the day before the election. You understand that? That's like firm prediction time. That's him making a firm prediction right before the election that she would win. So I'm going to call that a lie. I think that's fair to call that a lie.
Stupidest thing in the universe for libs to intervene. Famously, fascists always stop at the edge cases. Famously. Yeah, another... Hasan Piker says Hasan Piker as he's dragged away by dragged away to Guantanamo by Trump's secret police. Like, look, yeah, this is amazing. According to public statements, it's believed that the delegation members stayed.
Dog, look, the response to this story is in large part a reflection of his own conduct. He exists to be antagonistic and I would say sometimes belligerently hostile towards liberals and Democrats. And all the reactions that you're seeing, and I would never tweet out like, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily like make posts celebrating what's happening. But those are done because he has a years-long track record of his own just open hostility towards Democrats. I mean, we just saw a clip of him a moment ago celebrating the idea of Adam Schiff being arrested. So, you know, from a certain angle, it's like, okay, how much of this did you kind of invite with your own behavior?
At a hotel, the U.S. State Department has put on a Cuba restricted list as businesses directly tied to the communist government of Cuba designated a state sponsor of terrorism. We stayed at a legal hotel. This whole thing seems to stem from an erroneous viral tweet. Know who did actually stay at a sanctioned hotel? Nick Shirley. We know because he broadcast from it and told everyone he stayed there. Yeah. Anyway, but all of these like very annoying centrists on the timeline whose only thing that they hate, whose only thing that they supposedly hate is this guy from the Manhattan Institute thinks the subpoena is because of your wads of cash comment. He's been living. Yeah. It's not illegal. It's literally not illegal to bring cash and give and purchase things in Cuban businesses or even give it straight up on the street if you want to give it out to people.
Well, it can be. The business is sanctioned, right?
That's literally a normal tourism function. There's a humanitarian purpose beyond it as well. None of this is illegal, guys. I always found it odd that when Hasan got off the plane in Cuba, one of the first people waiting to take a selfie with him was Jody Evans, Neville Roy Singham's wife and CodePink co-founder. I don't know. Maybe because she was one of the people that was on she's a part of the CodePink organization. And CodePink was also there. Like they were also, you know, I don't even know the exact details, but they were also part of organizing the trip together. What? I know you usually have the work of rallying the orgs you support, but in case they try to bring you to court, you should definitely consider coordinating with orgs you've been pushing and try to publicly mobilize your community and not only your defense, but use yourself as an example that the admin is hunting down real pro-American voices like Medea. Show them that your emotion goes beyond being a Twitter power user that's buddies with Elon's exes. Dude, sometimes I welcome rotting for the rest of my life in a federal penitentiary rather than having to deal with long-term community members who have like unbelievably snide remarks even in this.
So the only way, as far as I understand, that this would amount to criminal charges with jail time would be if he knowingly violated sanctions. If it was an oopsie daisy, you can get hit with fat fines, as far as I understand, like pretty significant fines. 200,000 per violation, I think is what I read. But they won't throw you in jail unless you knowingly violated sanctions. And just to be clear, I really doubt that he knowingly violated sanctions. That is difficult to believe. I don't think this man wants to go to prison.
Moment. Like, what the dude, what? You're giving me advice on something that you don't know if I'm doing or not, okay?
He does need to be careful, man. Like, he really does. I don't know what his vetting process was before he went on this trip. I don't know if he did a lot of due diligence, but he does need to be careful, especially with this administration, to make sure he's fucking dotting all his I's and crossing all his T's. The trib with $10, whether it's sad, cucked, self-sabotage, or all three, Dems will absolutely fight for these selfish fucks. Yes, we clown the people who deserve it, but we will be there for them. I hope some leftists can see it. I don't know. I don't know if, we'll see. LOL, we're sticking by our principles by not supporting left or right authority. That's a really good point, bro. That's a really good point that I didn't even think of. He earnestly suggested that that Joe Biden should have politicized the DOJ to target Joe Manchin and his daughter to coerce him into supporting legislation. So he doesn't even believe in this principle. Which, of course, he's an authoritarian. He is a tanky. Trib with $2, not trying to prod, but did you follow up with Kyla? I did, and I didn't get a follow-up to the follow-up. So we'll see if the Mallory McMorrow interview happens. I would be down. I would have to do a little bit of prep for that, but.
And then also you have to slap me with a backhand and be like, all you technically do is just, hang out with Elon Musk's exes, dude. Why don't you do some real organizing? Well, bitch, I did. Okay. And guess what? The government was like, we're throwing your ass in jail. F you. Okay. What do you want me to do? Literally, people are so funny. They'll be like, oh, Hasan, all you do is sit at home. You asshole. You don't do anything. You sit at home and you collect checks. You say, subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service. And you get your legion of adoring fans to subscribe to your Twitch stream, right? All you do is sit at home. You don't do shit. I go out and I do shit. Then they say, oh, you're performative. You're performative. You're LARPing.
I would say I'm probably in the same boat as Neera Tanden here. I'm an adult, so I can say that the Trump admin weaponizing the justice system against dissenters on its Cuba policy is wrong. I can also say that people who encouraged people not to vote for Kamala were fascist enablers, and it's ironic that they are expecting the Dems they attack regularly to defend them. Also, I can understand people uncommitted on this topic because they don't want to support the lesser of two evils. Quick little fact check here. I don't know if Hasan encouraged people to not vote for Kamala. It might seem like a small detail, but when you get something like that wrong, you just give people ammunition. So I assume there's people in the chat down here that are pointing that out.
You're LARPing. You wore a shirt.
100%. Yes, he did. Well, let me see a clip of that. I don't think that's true. I've never seen a clip of Hasan suggesting to people that they not vote for Kamala.
You wore an expensive shirt while you were doing things. If you were doing real things, the government would be after you. Now the government is after me, and they're like, well, the government's after you, and it's good, actually. Well, at a certain point, you have to realize, like, maybe this gripe has nothing to do with what I'm doing or what you think I could be doing more of, and instead has everything to do with the fact that you just have been geared into despising me.
I think a more accurate thing to say would be that he created a permission structure to not vote for her. That is certainly true. He would say something that basically amounted to like, I understand if people don't want to vote for her. Is saying to vote for Jill Stein not the same as saying not to vote for Kamala? He never said to vote for Jill Stein. I just think we need to get those details right, because if your attacks are careless and inaccurate, then you just kind of give them permission, or you give them an excuse to dismiss your critique. I think you might be confusing him with Kalinske. He did not endorse, but not endorsing is not the same thing as encouraging people to not vote for Kamala. I feel like I'm going a little crazy right now. I'm not sure he would ever directly say don't vote for Kamala, but when all he talks about was how Kamala is pro-genocide, corporate centrist, or whatever, that is not basically a tacit call to not vote. I mean, that I think is I think that's fair. Certainly with his rhetoric, I would say that he hurt her chances with, like if he hadn't been covering the election, I think that would have netted Kamala votes. I don't know how many votes that would have netted, but Daz Vidani with $10. I think we're talking about a distinction without a difference, whether or not he actually said the words directly. His actions heavily imply an intent, and that intent was to hurt Kamala. Yeah, I agree. Their whole thing is they want leverage. They want to feel like they have leverage. They want to feel like their movement has motion. They want to feel like their movement has influence, has power. And I think he was trying to create that leverage and trying to use his influence to hurt her campaign throughout the campaign. I do think that when you make a claim like he told his supporters not to vote for Kamala, you can make a better argument without it getting picked apart in the replies. It just feels like a tactical error. Like I think what you're saying might be substantively correct, but it's difficult to defend. I'm just saying it should just be a sharper argument if you're going to go after someone like Hasan. You don't want to make some argument that indirectly makes him like stronger.
You can't pay for this kind of publicity, fam. Okay, guys, I'll be honest. I prefer not to have this public.
Come on, Hutch, the intent wasn't to hurt Kamala. The intent was to call out her policy issues. I mean, listen, when you cross a line and say that someone is enabling a genocide, how else am I supposed to take that besides you are deliberately trying to hurt their campaign? I just don't agree with that. I think he was trying to hurt her campaign. She was. Oh, okay, hang on. Iron Fist. We're in a new era. I'm not going to get fucking stun locked.
Publicity. Okay, if you think that this is just like it's good, I know some of you are looking for a silver lining in this situation, but this is not good. Okay, there is no world where having to deal with like a federal case is actually a good moment. I would much rather not have to deal with this at all. Okay, but yeah, Austerity Step says, them leaders need to speak out against this gross dictatorial abuse of power and the law to chill dissent. And I'm not talking simply progressives. Yeah. Hopefully. The TMZ moms thinks is because you had Elon's baby mama on. They see on your side. Yeah. But yeah, that's where we're at.